Hi, hunters. Thank you for tuning into the Flush 'em and Dust 'em podcast brought to you by Nick and Tyler, the boys from Ringnecks and Retrievers. In this podcast, we will talk about guns, dogs, gear, and our successes and failures in the field through our combined 40 years of experience. We speak with hunters just like you from across the nation about their days in the field and the many memories they built with their friends and family. We are excited to have you listen. Now let's get to flushing and dusting. Hey hunters, welcome back to another Flushman Dustin podcast. We got Nick and Tyler here. Today we're going to discuss our South Dakota trip. Very exciting stuff. But we're going to switch it up today. We got Matt, who's been on a couple previous podcasts. Matt is going to MC this podcast and ask Tyler and I questions. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Matt, it's all yours.
All right. So, well, thanks for inviting me to come back on and do this, guys. I appreciate it. Obviously, I'm becoming quite good friends with Nick and Tyler. Been doing some hunting and talking a lot with them. But I obviously followed them on social media the whole time for their trip, whether it was text message, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, whatever it may be. Yeah. So I had a lot of questions. And so I'm going to go ahead and just start asking them.
Absolutely.
So, Nick.
Yeah.
Tell us who all went.
So we had Tyler and I, obviously founders of Ringnecks Retrievers, Flushman Dustin podcast. And then I had my sister's boyfriend, longtime boyfriend going on 3 years. Josh went with us. And then my best friend, for forever, Damon went with us. And so we had a good group of guys, very experienced hunters that I trusted out in the field.
So obviously we had some truck problems in the past that we've discussed. Yes. It looked like truck was new truck or different truck, and then some sort of modifications to the back end. So
yeah,
what happened? How would you do?
So I ended
full
up
story.
with actually
full story.
So I ended up with a nicer truck than what was expected. I used to drive a 2002 F-150. That was my daily driver. And I went to upgrade to a 2015 Nissan Titan. Anybody that has a Nissan Titan and has good luck with them, congrats. I personally did not. I had it for 3 days, went to pull out of my driveway to go hunt. If you guys have listened to the previous podcast, the truck completely shut down.
Not only can he not hit anything, but he can't drive anything either.
I can drive, but if I had some bad luck. So yeah, completely broke down. Ended up switching out of that and getting into a Ram 1500, which is perfect for the trip. Has a nice big cab. We had a trailer that we pulled out, and that was great because we had all the extra gear. But the modification that Matt mentioned and we posted on Facebook and Instagram is I made similar to what people call the decked system and a bed slide, but a combination of one. So the people that have seen those deck systems, it's basically a deck for your bed with drawers underneath it. And then the bed slide is basically a slide to pull out so you don't have to reach way back into your bed. So basically what I did is I took that idea that they have and just combined it into one piece. So our kennels were raised up 6 inches off the bed so you could slide gun cases underneath it. I didn't have like actual drawers. Didn't have time to make it.
Didn't need them.
Don't know if I will.
Didn't need them. I don't think you need them at all.
I don't think so either. I mean, and then basically on top of that, just had a sheet of plywood that rolled on ball bearings. And that rolled out so far. There's a few things that I think we noticed during the trip that would be nice to change up about it, make it a little more sturdy. But I thought it was actually more handy than what was expected. We had 3 large roughland size kennels, 2 in the back, 1 sideways in the front, and being able to pull that out, and you could move the front kennel, sideways a little bit to let the dog in each side, and then put the front dog in, was actually pretty convenient. So it worked out pretty well. Like I said, there's a few small modifications that I want to make it a little more sturdy, make it roll a little better. But other than that, I mean, I was pretty impressed for just thinking it up in my head,
Yeah, I
and
mean, we didn't have to jump in the back of the truck.
yeah,
It was easy to let the dogs out. The only concern that we ran into is that it was, oh, I don't know, it's what, 10 inches higher than the bed or so, something like that, 8 inches higher. You definitely don't want the dogs to jump out,
yep, yeah,
another foot higher. So we're always lifting them up and lifting them down is what
yep,
we ran into. But I mean, in terms of hunting with the group, having space, everybody had space in the cab. And hell, we all had, in South Dakota, we all have our license to carry, so we all had our shotguns sitting beside us, except for Tyler.
yep,
So we actually didn't take cases some of the days.
yeah,
Um,
which is
you
pretty
know,
nice,
yeah.
But yeah, the ride was smooth. So anybody that's looking at a Ram, highly recommend it.
I just bought one too. Pretty nice.
We had a 6x12 trailer that we took out, which was really nice. We didn't have any gear to carry in the cab. We were able to carry all
Just
our luggage.
just the essentials.
Yeah.
Tyler drove, didn't drink, but we drank our fair share on the way up.
So we got to enjoy a nice ride. Like I said, that truck modification bed slide decked system came in handy. I'm gonna put something together for some people that have been asking for it, just the material list that I used. So if you're interested and you're listening to this, send us a message, drop a comment, and I'll be sure to get that to you guys. So
Did it take a long time to build?
no, it only took after you get all your materials and stuff, the actual build time of it was probably only a couple hours. Had a pretty good idea. Obviously you got to make it to the length of your bed, which I didn't have my truck. Good thing Nick had it, so he could measure the bed length. And it was 2 inches shorter than the total bed length, so it worked out really well.
Yeah, I'd get a text, hey, what's this measuring in the back of your truck? What's this measuring? So I'm running out to my truck, measuring everything.
Yeah.
So I can measure, if anybody's wondering.
Yeah. Certain things.
You had one of those easy read tape measures.
Yeah. Yeah, everything spelled out. Every eighth on there was marked out for me. Every quarter.
So where did you guys? So obviously you guys live in different parts of the state. Everybody does.
Yeah.
Where did you guys all take off from?
So everybody came to my house and
probably jumped in together, and then how did it go from there?
So everybody met at Josh's place because he lives out in the country, just outside of Cedar Rapids. Safer for vehicles, more room, honestly. He lives on an acreage, so they just could park in the yard or whatever there. So Tyler, Damon met at Josh's place, and then from there, they came down and everybody stayed at my place Friday night.
Okay.
Yeah. Which was nice having us all together for the next day.
Right.
We were able to, all of our luggage was already loaded up in the trailer from the night before getting down to Nick's. And then we were able to get up in the morning and get on the road right away, which was very convenient.
Yeah, I think I seen a picture, and I'm assuming it must have been in front of your house then, Nick. So I didn't know if everybody if Tyler, you showed up or with the rest of the guys early on, but no, that probably made it a lot smoother than every wake up.
It really did. We don't have a huge house, but we got plenty of room here, couches, and actually have a queen bed in the back that was in Maya's room, but Maya's taking the room. We pulled it out for Tyler, and he slept on that, and Josh took a bedroom, and then Damon slept on the couch. So yeah, it worked out real well.
Perfect. So obviously take off, day one take off, and then you went, but you hunted though. You hunted in Iowa somewhere, right?
Yeah, so we hunted Iowa side. We got out close to it was Salix, Iowa. It was like Blair, Nebraska, right kind of up in that area, but Iowa side obviously. And God, we got out there, we couldn't find a spot to hunt.
There were trucks everywhere.
Everybody was hunting. I was like, oh shit, we're not going to be able to get a hunt in Iowa side before we go. But we kept trying each spot, and we pulled up to, there was a fire station. I don't remember what that town was. Utah.
No, I can't remember off the top of my head either.
It's marked. We got it marked on X though, but we walked in there and we actually parked in the fire station parking lot and unhooked our trailer because that one bad thing that we didn't make a modification. Our tailgate couldn't go down because of the jack on the trailer. So we
Yeah.
had to unhook the trailer each time to get the dogs out, get all our gear out. So we were doing that in this fire station parking lot off this side. It wasn't bothering anybody. Of course, guy drives by, says, can't do this, can't park here. Well, we already had all our shit on the dogs out. So we asked Josh if he would drive it down around because we were controlling the dogs. So he drove it down to where the guy told us we could park. And we walked in from a completely different side of things. And I don't know, what would you say, Tyler? 10 minutes, 5 minutes in? Not even.
Not even. 30 steps in.
Yeah, birds just. How many did we see? Eight roosters.
It was all roosters. There's no hens in it.
Yeah.
It was all roosters.
And the first one I wasn't sure because I literally just stepped in the field. It got shot up, and I could have easily shot it if I was ready. Didn't shoot because I was like, oh fuck. So could have had an extra one there, but we didn't. And then I think Tyler, you shot the next bird or missed the next bird, one of the two.
I missed the first one in front of me that got up, but the next one I hit.
Yeah.
And it was actually a pretty long shot. I was actually thoroughly impressed with myself.
It was a long shot. And then I had one get up. Oh, God. I mean, threw my gun at it, basically. I'd hit it. It was right there and ended up shooting that and retrieved that one nice. And then there's when we got to the edge, kind of where we parked, so we came around, the vehicle's parked on the, got to be the far.
By a grain bin, yeah.
By a grain bin. I guess my directions would be all mixed up. It'd probably be the east side, I guess,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of it.
So the field ran long ways north and south. The fire station parking lot would have been on the northwest side of the field, and where you're supposed to park by the grain bin where we pulled the truck down was on the northeast side of the field.
Yep. So there was a berm kind of in the middle. Is a big some trees in there, kind of a little dirt in the middle. So we ended up splitting off that. And then Damon and Tyler went on one side. Josh and I, just by how we were walking, were on the other side.
Yep.
And son of a bitch, Diesel, if he didn't get on a bird. And we ended up getting way ahead of Damon and Josh because he was just birdie this whole way. And at the end, we knew there's a tree line. So we saw those birds fly down there. Didn't know if there was going to be a bunch of them get up or what. But anyway, we got down there. Diesel gets in there, hard point. Josh actually shot the bird at that time.
Yep.
So it was a pretty good field. We harvested 3 out of that first field in Iowa. And honestly, I think it was just because we hunted it different. We came in our different way. I bet nobody hunts close to. You're not supposed to shoot by that shed there within 200 yards. So I bet nobody even hunts that.
Right. So you read articles and you listen to other podcasts and stuff, and a lot of people say, if you're hunting public ground, don't park at the parking lot.
Yep.
Find a safe place to park and walk in completely opposite of other people. So
yep.
You guys can say that is true on true right there, fellas.
No, it definitely was.
100%.
Definitely was.
So obviously, what time did you guys finish that hunt? What time of the day was that then?
It was pretty early.
Yeah, we got there at 9 probably, and we're packed up by, I don't know, it only took us probably an hour and a half to do that field.
Yep.
And then we drove to it. Go.
No, go ahead. So I was going to ask, did you guys then hunt anymore, or you guys went to South Dakota then started hunting?
So actually I had a spot picked out, and I guess the direction giver's fault. Wasn't paying fucking attention. We got past it too far, so it was just like, oh, just keep going, keep going. So we went to another spot that I don't know. Matt, you ever get to a spot where you see it and you're like, you don't know if you really want to hunt it?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
So we ended up finding the one spot that was on our way up, and I'm like, I don't know, but we hunted it. One rooster and
one
hen.
Yeah.
Was that still in Iowa, or was that in South Dakota?
It was in Iowa. Yeah.
That was right up by Sioux City, literally just outside of town, 2 miles. I mean, it wasn't that far.
Right.
Yeah, it was kind of a bust. I mean, there were so many fox dens or coyote dens and stuff in this field. You could barely walk through it without stepping in a hole. So, but it was still good to get out in different areas, and check it out. At least we know now we're not going back to that field.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, for sure. So then from there, you continued the long trek.
Yep, we went
So
straight to the Dakotas.
Tell me how many hours, and then tell me about the Airbnb.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Let's see. Ours was what, 6.5, 7 hour total trip. So basically where we stopped was about 2.5 hours, 3 hours into it, where we stopped to hunt. So we had about basically 4 hours left of the drive. We went to Wall Bay, South Dakota, which is where we stayed. And it's the only Airbnb in Wall Bay. Pretty cool little place. Just an old house, 4-bedroom, which was nice. All 4 of us had our own bedrooms, which is great.
Yeah, a lot of the bedrooms had, like I know Josh's room had. So there was 3 twin beds in there, and in Damon's there was 2 twin beds in there. So you could have slept 3 more people easily.
I think it's an 11 person.
Yeah,
is what it said online from what I remember. And coolest part is it had a pool table. So, we didn't have to go anywhere for entertainment, with everything going on COVID wise and whatnot. It was nice that we could get there. And the first night was awesome. Got there, got all of our stuff. So then it had a garage, and we were able to park the enclosed trailer inside of the garage, which was very nice because we didn't have to think about it. When we were out hunting, like, someone sees this parked here, they know it's an Airbnb. Obviously with old law enforcement background and whatnot, you're thinking, God, who's going to come and steal this thing? So it was nice to have that inside of the garage.
To get the trailer into the garage, we had to flatten all the tires because it sat up too high. Once we got the tires flat enough, we could pick it up and we could push it in.
Yeah.
It might have been easier just to go buy a lock at the hardware store.
Yeah, probably. But it was still pretty sweet. You had to lift it up a certain height to get it in, and then you have to lift it up a little more to keep balancing it out and make it level the whole way back and through till you got it through the door. So it was pretty funny.
That's funny. But so, obviously social media looked like got some pretty heated games of pool in. Who ended up winning the competition of the old pool game?
I think at the end of the last night,
it was close. It was
close. I can't remember if it was tied or it was up 1 game. To be honest, I think we stopped counting after some point the last night. I know my team was up.
They were up.
Until through when we stopped counting, but then we played a few more games. I don't remember if anybody kept score. Probably had a few too many beers to remember to keep score that night.
It was a rough night. It was a rough morning the next day.
Yeah, the night wasn't rough. The morning
didn't get a whole lot of hunting done the next day, honestly.
I think I texted Nick and he said, hunted 1 spot, but I'm really tired today. Or I think he was like, I'm really hungover or something.
Yeah. Like 1 spot, pretty hungover. We only got 1 bird. Nobody was really jacked that last day.
Yeah.
Because we had such a good day the day before.
Right.
And it was, it just fed into the energy in the house, which is fun when guys get excited about hunts like that.
So my question for you guys was, because I don't know, because obviously the trip kind of changed a little bit for you guys, but so how many days were you out there, and then how did that day one South Dakota, I should say?
So day 1 South Dakota sucked.
Yeah,
sucked. Awful.
Bad.
So we got close to Aberdeen, and if you follow anything South Dakota, Aberdeen is one of the biggest places to go. Aberdeen this, Aberdeen that. I mean,
and there's a shit ton of public ground.
Shit ton, loads.
I think it's close to 5,000 something acres up that way.
We had 1 rooster the whole day. Saw hens. At night we're literally driving back to go to our camp. We're kind of all just baffled by not seeing anything. All of a sudden a rooster flies by in front of us onto some public ground, and we're like, no fucking way. We quick whip it into this field, take off after it, and I'll be damned if we didn't get that son of a bitch.
Yeah, the first field we went to, we saw just the one rooster that Josh and I both shot at and got. Did we even see another?
No,
I
not
don't
till
think
that
there
one we
was.
shot.
Yeah, I mean there was a few, like you said, a few not roosters, hens throughout the day, and we hit some places that like the grass was good grass. I mean,
Like if I was a betting man, I'd have bet a lot of those places would have been packed with birds, and we
yeah,
just did not. Even the dogs weren't even acting birdy, and some of that I was like,
no,
man.
and
Think a lot of hunting pressure. I mean, what do you think the reasoning of no?
So I think the biggest reason is I actually don't think it's hunted that much. We didn't see that many hunters up there. What we did notice is there is no corn in, no beans in, no nothing. It's
it
just
it was all just pasture ground around
yeah.
it, and
Food source then.
yeah, so I don't know if there's, before we went out there, um, my my dad knows a guy that goes out to South Dakota every year that knows people that live up in the Aberdeen area, and he told them or told this guy that the bird numbers are way down around the Aberdeen area, but it seemed like everything you read, saw, post on Facebook, Instagram, like everybody's crushing it in South Dakota.
Well,
So you're
and,
like, there's
and
no
then
way
you
it's
also think, yeah, then you also think, all right, they're way down to what, your
who's
standards? Because if
standard.
you're
Yeah.
if you're looking at Iowa standard and they're way down, well, then you might walk all day and see one frickin' bird. But if you're in South Dakota, you might walk all day and see 50 birds. So, you know, you just don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, that first day was a struggle.
Did you guys So I know you guys found private ground. So was private ground that day after you guys struggled, or did you guys not try to get the private ground until day 2, South Dakota? And then
Day
how did that go? So tell me how that all worked out.
day two was the day. So uh, last year, Tyler and I had a lot of good luck on some of these private ground spots. So we said, hey, let's drive an hour and a half down to, or not private, public ground spots. So we said, hey, let's drive back down to these spots. We had a lot of luck, saw a ton of birds in these places. So we got back down there. Not the same at all as what it was last year. There
It's
wasn't really any.
cut.
It was all cut. There was a couple patches. There was it corn or beans on the left side of the field, which is private ground. You're not supposed to be able to hunt. So we said let's give these public ground swatches a go. We're like, well, fuck, this is ruining our whole thing. So we get in there, and I don't know. We walk not even a minute in, and Damon immediately bird gets up. Damon misses a freaking bird right off the bat. And Damon's the guy that says, well, I'll never miss. So I was giving him hardcore shit about that one. So it was pretty intense there. So then at least we knew that there were birds in the area. We walked that field. How you think that field was 150 long, Tyler?
Probably more
That
like
first one we walked?
two, at least two, because
Yeah.
first
So
field we walked, that's when
someone there.
Diesel had his long track, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That first
Yeah,
swatch. So
that's probably at least 200, maybe
yeah,
250.
we came to about the middle of the field, somewhere in there, 2/3 of the field, and then bird gets up in front of Josh. Him and I both shoot at it. Knew that it wasn't hit good at all. Well, and we said, "Get the dogs over here. Get the dogs over here." So we had Murph, Lola, Diesel, everybody come over. We're searching for it. They're searching for it. We're like, God, there's no way that fucking bird got away that fast. There's just no way. And you think, I mean, they were there just real quick. The dog saw it drop. We saw it drop. Next thing you know, Diesel just takes off on his own, and he just starts going. And I'm like, God, is he on another bird or is he on this down bird? I'd really like him to stay here. So, Diesel's pretty well trained where if I want to call him off, I can give him a little nick and he'll come back. Well, I didn't. I'm like, well, I'm gonna just let him go. He just keeps going back and forth through the field. Gets to the end. It's a level what? It's a level B road or
Whatever
D
they
road,
call
whatever
it.
they call it. I think it's
I
a
don't
level
know.
D road. Well, there's a road there. Anyway, Diesel gets out of the field, which is a ways away from us. At this point, he's probably 100 yards from me. Crosses that road, and I'm like, son of a bitch, do I need to call him back or what? gets across the road into that bean field, and he's just tracking back and forth. And there's a patch of grass in there. Not very big, but there's a patch of grass. Next thing you know, he goes down, swoops up to the left, boom, pounds it, grabs that bird, tracked him about 150 yards, we figure, maybe a little bit farther. Best track job I've ever seen. And if you watch the videos on Instagram or on YouTube, you can see
Check
me
the
just
YouTube
pumping my
video.
fist and yelling. I'm like, yeah, I'm like so excited because I haven't seen a dog track like that
It was good.
ever. I mean, dogs typically do the 30, 40-yard track job. I've seen that, 100 times, but to do that distance and stay with it across the road, into another field, into another brush patch, I mean, I'm still in awe by it.
Yeah, it was a fun one to watch, and it's exciting because it's like that was the field last year where that bird went down and just freaking disappeared, and I'm like, oh my god, not again.
Yep.
And then this one we capitalized on it, and the whole group, everybody's just super happy. And I mean, that's where you got the dogs, like that is the moment where you're like, this is why I have a dog, and these are the moments you like. Those are like Nick will always, that'll always be probably one of your most proud moments for Diesel.
Oh man, I mean, best retrieve I've ever seen out of him. He did one similar to that, but it wasn't near as far.
When the dog found the dog or the bird finally stopped running because it ran into like a fence line or something, or did it
I think it just was burrowing in.
Yeah,
he thought he
because when he like I saw him grab it, and he like went by it, came back down, and then his body basically whipped back like, oh shit, there it is, like there's a strong scent getting into the scent cone, and he dove into the grass, and you could see the bird kind of jump up, and I was like, he's got it. And yeah, then he just grabbed it. I mean, it was a full open behind this patch. It was like just an open cornfield after that. I mean, there was nothing else, so
I think one of the coolest things about it too is that it wasn't just me that was excited. It was the whole group together. It was like, oh man, we fucking got that bird, no way, So that was really cool to share that with some of my best friends and being out in that field.
Yep.
Well, that is super cool. So tell me about this. How'd you guys score the private then after that, or how'd that all go down?
So normally when it's just Tyler and I go out there, all we do is scout, and usually we're just scouting public ground. Well, this morning on the way down, we were scouting and just driving gravels. Just knew we wanted to get down there, but we were just driving gravels. Came by the one place I was telling you about before we started the podcast, Matt, where we just saw, God, hundreds and hundreds of birds just flying. And we're like, what the fuck is this? Like, we need to get on this place. We need to get on here. So we knocked on the door. Nobody came to the door. So we're like, well, we're not going to waste much time. We don't want to burn daylight. So drove down and found another level B or D or C, E road, whatever the hell you call it. Started driving down it, and in a corner of grass, I mean, we're talking grass, 6 inches tall maybe, we saw 20 birds fly out of it on the right-hand side of the road. And we're like, oh, and it was a pasture. And we're like, what the hell? So as we're watching all these birds fly out, because non-shooting hours, and it was on somebody's ground anyway.
Yep.
To the left of us was all this other ground, and I bet we saw 60 birds, 50 birds come out of here, just start going, and it was crazy. So we're sitting there watching that. So then with the on X, you can tell who owns it. So after we hunted that public ground, we thought, you know what? Josh is the king of this, and he's like, I'm going to go ask that guy to hunt. Let's go do it. So we're like, all right. So we drove to his house, asked him to hunt with us. I got his phone number. We took him the day later after we got done hunting. We would have done this anyways if we would never got any birds off his land, but we took him some liquor, and then we gave him some deer sausage that we had. And after doing that, he said, well, let me tell you guys, I got another spot if you guys want where there's a lot of birds, and it's right back here.
Yeah. And it was amazing, the gesture, just of giving them something unexpected, like, I think the liquor was kind of like, oh, thanks. But then when you guys busted out the homemade deer sausage back from Iowa, he was just like blown away by it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's about, because the other piece of private ground that we asked, we basically did the same thing. Is he wanted Bailey's Irish Cream, and we had deer summer sausage with us, and we gave that to him right away. And we came back the next morning.
Yep.
And gave him that Irish Cream, and he's just like, yeah, I got, then he started telling Nick, I got ground here, basically just hunt whatever has my name on
this
it.
guy has, both guys had thousands and thousands of acres. You could just tell because you could see it on X. And he's like, well, because I said, well, you know anybody else that would let us hunt their ground, or is there any place else we can go? And he goes, well, yeah, I guess I have quite a bit of ground. If you can see it on that thing there, I don't mind. You can go ahead and hunt it. I'm like, okay, we'll just drive around and check out all your property then. Sounds good.
Was it just mainly big CRP fields, or were they like waterways, or what you guys actually hunt on their land?
So the field that we got all of our birds out of, it was like rows of trees, 4 rows of trees with grass all around it. And they were wide. I mean, they're as wide as, I don't know, my basement's, 15 foot wide, 10, 12 foot wide. That's about as wide as they were, with trees going right down the middle.
Yep.
But it started out, I don't know, how would you want to say it started out, Tyler? It was like cattails.
It was a weird, take like a corner of a field and just imagine like an old, like a fence row, but take it 30 yards wide. And that's where we started. We walked in, 2 birds right away.
Boom, boom. So right away we're on the board after, 30 seconds, not even 30 seconds, 20 seconds. Probably not even 10 seconds. It's just like you walked in, it was like, oh shit, boom. And then all of a sudden one flew out the other end, and Tyler and Damon shot at that one and got that one. So it was pretty sweet.
And then it goes, went through, and it had like a weird, super skinny trees that were 10 feet, 12 feet tall,
or whatever you call them.
Whatever those stupid trees are. I mean, they were a pain to walk through. Thank God they weren't long, or it wasn't a long. But then got through those, and that's where you hit your first finger. And those fingers are probably 200 yards
at least
long, I would say.
At least.
Where those trees were. Basically just buffers or windbreaks, And then on the front side of the field right next to the gravel road, it was probably, 30 yards wide, 40 yards wide of a switchgrass.
Yep. And there was 2 spots where it had that. So it was on one side after the first set of trees, and then after the second set of trees, there was another like food plot there, I would say, or grass strip, if you will.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think how we walked.
So we just walked that first one because it was small enough. We just took that one straight through. Yeah. We didn't hit that one finger until last because we thought that's where all the birds flew. So we walked all the way down and got to one fence, or got to one tree line, and walked that, and then walked one back up, then walked another one back down is how we ended up doing it.
Yeah.
But the highlights out of that one, I think there's a couple of them. One, the 2 that stick out to me the most was Diesel Point on a bird. And if you watch our Instagram or YouTube, you can hear me yell, he's on, I got a point.
Yep.
As soon as I yell, it flies out right at Tyler and Josh. And Matt, maybe you know about this, but they shot this bird, and it fucking went. It went like it went straight up and went super high, and I'm like, oh shit! Like, how are we gonna get that bird? But then it like just flipped over backwards and then shot back dead in the field.
Yeah, I always heard that was either a lung shot or a heart shot. I don't remember which one it is, but that's like.
And I can't remember either. I was trying to read it, and there's different things that I've read, and I don't know if anybody actually really knows which one it is. But it was awesome. I mean, that thing is flying perfectly horizontal with the ground, just beelining it away from us. And Josh shoots, and immediately a 90-degree angle, that thing just goes straight up in the air. And these trees are super freaking tall.
Clears
like
them.
big old oak trees. I mean, just huge. And yeah, straight up, and then just like kamikaze into the ground. And it was pretty cool to see.
Those are the ones that you guys can catch like a punt.
Yeah, that's basically what it looked like. Someone kicked a football straight up in the air, and so that was pretty cool.
And then the second memorable moment there was I had Murph. He was working kind of in front of me, so I was kind of walking. I was really the only one walking in the weeds, kind of in these berms or whatever you want to call them, windbreaks. Well, all of a sudden he stopped in front of me, and I was like, "Well, fuck, I think we might have a bird here or something." Well, he stopped and he pounced, and I was like, "Where's the bird at?" Nothing. And then he pounced again, and nothing came out. And I'm like, "Oh, it must be a damn rabbit." Well, I'll be damned if all of a sudden he didn't pounce like 2 more times after that, and that pheasant was burrowing down through the weeds, flew up out of there. I ended up getting it, but just to have that persistency and him to stay on it. I mean, I, I've seen. I don't know if you remember Jackson, Matt, but he was an impatient hunter, and if it wasn't up, he'd move on to the next thing right away. I always felt like, but to stay there and just like keep pouncing on it, it was pretty neat to see and pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. I like that field we had that double that came up too.
I guess that's the third memorable thing. I forgot about that.
Get into one. This part was funny. If you watch close enough on the YouTube video, you can see Nick, and it's pretty funny to watch. But it was Diesel and Murph were both over by Nick, and you can see Nick backing up because they both kind of lock up on a bird. A rooster gets up, Nick hits that one, and all 3 dogs go to that. Obviously, it's the first one they see. All 3 dogs are on it. So, and it's not dead, but it's kind of just flat hit jumping around, and the dogs are on it. But then another one gets up, and Nick and I both shoot at that one, and we hit it good enough where it's on the ground and it's kind of running in circles but not making it far. And if you watch the video, you can see Nick trying to run around and grab this bird.
Yeah.
He's so out of breath afterwards. It was pretty funny.
I haven't had to run through weeds with boots on in a long time. Man. Yeah, that one was pretty cool. That's actually maybe one of the first doubles that I don't know who hit that second bird, but
it's hard to even tell by the video.
One, if not the only double that's ever happened to me where I had a chance to do 2 like that. So that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun field. I mean, everybody was pretty jazzed up after that, and
Yep. So we ended up harvesting 9 birds off that guy's land.
Yep.
Yep. So then we had one. We ended up getting 10 that day. I ended up. I missed a bird. Could have put us at 11, and then Damon missed a bird. Would have put us at 12.
Yep.
I ended up having so my gun. I was using my Browning Maxus, my 12 gauge, but I have a switch on it, so that way I can just cock the shell out, and it won't put another one in the chamber. Well, when I was getting ready in the field, and this is an excuse, I missed the first shot, but I just put a shell in and then clicked the magazine closed, and I didn't click this button. So when I shot, it just opened and it didn't eject another one in. And I always say I'm a better shot on my second shot for whatever reason. I think a lot of people are, but yeah. So I didn't have a second shot to put him down, so I missed him.
You can't make fun of Tyler anymore for not.
Oh, I didn't miss as many birds on this trip as he did.
Whoa. I only missed 2.
And which other one did I miss?
You took a shot at the one in the first field on the Iowa side.
No, Matt. So
no, you did.
Listen, I did.
You did. See?
But Matt, is there anything such as, and I call it a pop shot, where you might not hit it, but you don't want it to get away, so you just fucking shoot anyway?
However, it's still a miss.
You pop
a
shot.
miss is a miss.
I don't know. I wasn't there to see it, so I can't help you out, Nick.
Anyway.
It was too far out. I didn't think I was going to hit it, but I shot because I was like, oh, fuck, I don't want it to get away. And, hoping that I could down it so the dogs could go get it. But I didn't get it, so they're counting that as a miss. No, hey, you missed a bird. Let's see, you missed that first field?
Yeah, I missed 2.
Which other ones you miss? That very first field?
Yeah, and then I had that one come up and I wasn't even paying attention.
And then the first day you missed one too. That was over the hill. with your dogs in that big field.
Okay, I missed 3 because that would be a pop shot.
Hey.
So did you guys to break up the lovers quarrel here? Did you guys hunt public then after that, or private, or do you guys go ahead and back to public?
Private.
Yeah, we stayed on private.
Did you guys stay private the rest of the trip?
Yes.
Yep.
You did. Awesome.
Yep.
That is super cool.
So the next day was a really rough day. We stayed up to 3 a.m. partying. So we didn't get up in time to do any scouting. So we basically just drove down there. We stopped back at that John's place, who let us hunt. Gave him his Bailey's Irish Cream, and that's when I asked him if we could fit anywhere else we could hunt. And that's when he gave us permission to basically check out all his land. So we did. So we drove around. Really didn't see any other spots. We hunted one other spot of his. We didn't see any roosters on that spot. I don't think that time, did we?
No.
Saw a coyote and a couple hens, I believe. And then we drove back around and found this little field. I mean, maybe 30 yards wide by, it's probably 200. It was probably 200.
It was probably close to, 30 acres, if that.
Yeah, I would say it's about 30 acres.
Maybe not even.
We get the dogs out, and we're thinking, it's real thin grass, too. We're like, I don't know, but let's give it a shot, whatever. It's right by some corn and whatnot. I'll be damned if we didn't get a quarter way in the field and 50 bird flush, probably.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
They were coming out everywhere, and so it didn't come out around us. They came out so far ahead of us that we couldn't even get a shot. And so I ended up getting a bird, and that jumped up. No dog kicked it up. I just happened to be standing right there, jumped up right beside me.
That's funny. You gotta tell him. So Josh, the guy
Josh
that we were with.
Yeah, so Josh is like, this bird is literally from, I mean, I could have basically threw my gun at it, and I pull up and I shoot it, and it drops right away. And I'm like, I definitely got that. And the whole side's like blowing off. And Josh is like,
yeah, on our way
back, he's like, God, glad I saved you on that bird, Nick. You would have never got it. I go, what are you talking about? I hit it. He goes, no, you didn't. I shot that bird. I go, you're like 60 yards away. Nope. I'm using some duck shot, some 3-shot. And I got that bird. So the whole trip, he says he's got this bird. And I'm like, no, you did not get that bird. And the whole time, nobody even knows that he shot other than him. So he thinks he got that bird, but he's full of shit. It was too close for me to miss. I wouldn't even have had aim. I could have just. It was so close. So we got one out of that field, which was. I was a little disappointed that those birds didn't hold tighter. I mean, it was such a nice day. It wasn't really cold out.
Yeah.
I think when you texted me that day, Matt, you asked me the temperature, and I said I think it was 41 degrees. So it was pretty warm. If it had been a little bit cooler, it'd have been a better day.
Yeah.
And then from there, we were just feeling pretty rough. So we went back to this Mike that let us hunt, and then we gave him all his stuff too. And that's when he told us we could hunt one of his spots. So we did that. Saw one rooster out of it. We didn't hunt it real hard though. I think there was probably more in there. But so Diesel's actually injured right now. He ended up tearing off his whole toenail is gone. Like you can see all the muscle and stuff. He ended up tearing off. So I didn't hunt him. Basically the end of the last day there.
Yeah, that was what I was going to get into. I was going to ask you guys. It sounded like the dogs maybe got beat up a little bit hunting hard, but I didn't know after that story of partying until 3 a.m. I didn't know who was more beat up, you guys or the dogs. So, but anyway, so the dogs got kind of beat up, and you guys cut the trip a little short, I think, right, guys?
Yeah, they're pretty well wiped. I mean, we hunted. I mean, I tracked on my phone basically what I walked, and it was close to 30 miles that I walked, just myself. So if you put that in, Diesel runs a lot for a dog, and I would say dogs probably doubled what we walked at least. So there's 60 miles, maybe a little more.
When you log your miles, did you use that OnX thing that you can use, or did you use like a Apple, like a watch or something?
My phone, it has a pedometer on it, so I just started
the other
that
day
up.
Looking at OnX, and you can like tap it, and then it'll log, like it'll track you or whatever.
Huh.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was looking at that the other day, and I keep telling myself I'm going to try it, and do it, and I keep forgetting. So
Yeah, that's interesting. That'd be interesting to do because it's probably
think more
GPS
accurate.
coordinates, so it's
Yeah,
probably tells you the
more
exact amount.
more
right. The
accurate
only thing
than
that
our
would
phone.
suck is if you forgot to shut it off and you drove. I think you get in the truck,
Oh,
you drive. It's going to tell you. It's going to show you
yeah.
how
Yeah.
many miles down the
Oh,
road.
you went 100 miles.
Right.
Yeah.
You spent 7 hours today.
Yeah. Yeah. My dogs, I don't know. They got maybe a little homesick or something, but the first, day and a half, they wouldn't eat anything. And then finally got them to eat. So I know their energy was a little down, because they weren't eating like they normally do. But I don't know what it is.
So just my experience with that, Tyler, is with police dogs and hunting dogs. Dogs just get excited. I use the word spun up.
Yeah.
So how many times have your dog's been out to South Dakota, or let's just say a trip like that kind of?
This will be their second one.
And they remember that, and they get super excited for that, and they just kind of change the way they are and don't eat. My sheriff, my other dog, he would not eat in South Dakota. Like, when we go on a hunting trip, he would not eat. The only way I could get him to eat is I'd feed him. I'd put kibble in my hand, and then he'd eat out of my hand.
Yeah, that's basically what I had to do. I put some real, actual human food, like some chicken stuff.
He started putting peanut butter on his nuts.
Yeah. Start doing chicken and beef in their food, and would just stir it up and put some of the juice on it. Yep. And they would start eating then. But yeah, before that they just wouldn't even touch the food.
Yeah, no, I even at the point where I'd stop at like McDonald's or Hardee's and literally just get the sheriff I'd get him a cheeseburger and be like,
did that work?
He'd eat that, but he wouldn't eat his kid. You feed him at night in the hotel room or whatever. And nope, wouldn't touch it unless I fed him out of his.
I do not have a problem with that. Diesel will eat anytime, any place, but he has been away from home, I would say, a lot for a dog. I had him training for 3 months at a time when he's at the trainer, and then when we go down the lake of the Ozarks, sometimes he'll spend a week or 4 or 5 days at a kennel down here that lets him run. She's got an acreage, so he gets a long ways to run there. So he's had quite a bit of experience of being by himself, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, even sometimes dogs, even I've seen dogs when we go to trainings, even their digestive system just gets messed up, and
that's what happens to Diesel.
Have accidents in the car and whatever.
He gets the shits. He can't wait to get out, and then he just diarrhea's everywhere.
Well, at least he's eating.
Yeah,
that's a lot nicer than them not eating.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll be able to. I don't know that I'll be able to hunt him the rest of the month, honestly. But I mean, I'm having a baby coming anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But
yeah, so
it'd be like if you ripped your fingernail out completely and it was exposed, and obviously you're walking on that. It is just pure red. There's no black nail there or nothing. It's just pure red skin. I can't even touch it.
Yeah, I had one break one time, and I had to have the vet actually pull it off. And then it took, I think it was a good week or so before he could, I should say she could get back going. So
yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna have to take him to a vet or not. I don't know yet.
If it come off clean, I wouldn't worry about it. But they'll actually, you might want to take him to the vet, because I didn't realize how far a dog's toenail actually goes up in there where you can't see it all. So if it broke off and the rest of it's still attached, way up in there, you should maybe ask them if you should have them remove the rest of it off of it.
So don't get an ingrown toenail or something.
You might end up with it tries to grow back goofy. So when Ravens grew back, it grew back full, total. It didn't have to fight any other growth or anything that was existing there. So
I'll probably have to take him to the vet then.
Yeah. That way, like I said, it was only a couple weeks. I think once that, because it's super sensitive.
Yeah, because he'll still he goes outside and he'll just start limping all of a sudden, and I'll put it back down They must just hit a piece of grass or something, honestly, and it's like, oh
Right.
shit.
But once that kind of like starts to callus, and doesn't take that long, he'll be good as new.
As long as he's ready by the 9th and 10th or whatever date that is.
Right.
You gonna join us on that hunt, Matt?
I'm gonna try. I'm definitely gonna try. So that sounds like fun. We're gonna
We'll
definitely
We'll
get
hunt
out.
all day, all private ground.
Nice. So big question for you guys though, to finish up the South Dakota. Gonna go back to the same spot next year. What are you thinking?
I mean, so we're conflicted. Definitely love trying out new spots. I think we both definitely love the chase and the scouting and the planning, and we're possibly thinking of doing a dual trip if it allows, where we'd start off and head up to North Dakota, the northwest corner of North Dakota. It'd be nice to get on some sharptail and hunt a different species, but that seems to be where the biggest pheasant population is, and then maybe just spend a day or two up there. Probably 2 days. I don't feel like you can get enough done in one day because you spend a lot of time scouting, and then use another day down to travel. And then I'm gonna keep in contact. I'm sending these guys Christmas cards because I got their addresses and stuff. Send them cards and then give them a call next year. Check up with them, and then see if we can maybe hit their spots up as we come back down. Maybe spend a day or two there. So probably a 5 day trip maybe, and with a day of just travel, give the dog some rest in between. I don't know.
So I was kind of thinking about too, like even if you went, just go farther west South Dakota, so you didn't have to buy 2 different hunting licenses, and you could shoot sharptail, prairie chickens, stuff like that farther west, and then just work your way back east. Back to, I guess I don't know how far.
I think I think our biggest concern is we don't want to lose that private ground that we gained access to.
Right.
So going back every year and being consistent, taking gifts, whatever the case may be, sending cards, is a way to keep that. And so that's my thing. I don't want to lose that ground because obviously it produced quite a bit of birds.
Yeah, and it had a lot more birds that we didn't get.
Well, yeah, if it'd be colder, there'd be some snow on the freaking ground. I mean, shit, we would have limited out every day.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I thought you get west, and then you could come back to those. Go far west and then work your way back to those spots, where you had where you're creating those connections and those people, those farmers.
Yeah, I mean, you could Airbnb it out there for a couple nights, and then you could even hunt. I guess you could do like one or 2 nights out there, and then the day when you got done hunting, just drive back that night and get there late, and then just scout maybe most of the next day, but maybe hunt gold now or something. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Right. Yeah, just an idea, because I am marking it on my calendar. Whenever you decide, I'm going. So.
I think the thing is too is you realize how much more dog power you could use when you're out there too. Like it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You think, God, we got our 3 dogs cover a ton of ground. And then it's just like, God, we could actually use probably another dog. So to have Hawkeye go along would be beneficial. And then next year, Diesel's going to be even older, so to have a younger pup to really drive it home, that'll help as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background, but that's my kid gargling mouth.
That's funny.
No, awesome. That sounded like you guys had a great trip. Awesome trip. Looked like a good time. I was not gonna lie, I was jealous. Wished I was with you fellas. Things just didn't work out, and our deer hunting was was changed. So I planned to spend more time deer hunting, and we're still not doing that. But we had a family conflict today, so we had to stop deer hunting a little bit early. But we're gonna go back at it tomorrow. So
any big bucks?
So the farm that we hunted, we know that there's big bucks there. We saw one really nice one, but we did no shots at a big one anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah. Well, Matt, we appreciate it. I say we get through this year hunting season, and we'll revisit our plans for 2021 probably in February, March is kind of what Tyler and I did last year. We're going to get it in early enough and book it up right away. So we'll coordinate with everybody, get a weekend planned, and we'll do it again. We'll keep flushing them and dusting them.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Have a great night.
Yep. See you guys.
Hey, stay safe out there hunting.